Good afternoon and welcome to News Around Africa on Channel 38, Facebook and YouTube channel. I am Esther Wilson. In Zambia, Zambia's incumbent president Hakainde Hichilema has taken an early lead in the country's general election, putting him on course for a possible outright first-round victory as the vote is overshadowed by opposition claims that armed personnel raided his main rival's home. Voting began after polls closed on Thursday, and with more than half the country's constituency counted on Sunday, Hichilema had won nearly 59% of the vote, according to the Electoral Commission. His nearest challenger, Brian Mundibile of the opposition National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity, trailed with about a third. A candidate needs more than 50% to avoid a runoff, and the results are expected within days. However, Hichilema's lead is being weighed against a campaign international monitors have already called unfair and a count that has been far from smooth. Vote tallying was suspended for roughly 6 hours on Friday after reports of violence against polling staff and allegations that marked ballots had been stolen, a pause the European Union's observer mission described as disproportionate, since only a small fraction of Zambia's polling stations were affected. The Electoral Commission said the threat to the count had since been brought under control. A 57-year-old polling agent was killed near the capital Lusaka on election day, and police arrested 9 suspects. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has killed 2,325 people, surpassing the death toll from the 2018 to 2020 outbreak to become the deadliest in the country's history. The confirmed number of people infected with the virus has risen to 4,945, including 101 new cases detected in the previous 24 hours. The DRC's National Public Health Institute said in its latest report on Sunday. The outbreak is the fastest growing on record. Tom Fletcher, the United Nations humanitarian chief, said in a statement on Friday, "We need speed, scale, and solidarity before this virus gets even further ahead of us." The outbreak, the DRC's 17th, was already the biggest in the country's history in terms of number of cases, a milestone reached in late July. The latest government data shows that the total number of deaths has surpassed the 2,299 deaths recorded in the 2018-2020 outbreak, which was previously the country's worst on record. Ebola is winning in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. "We cannot let the virus outrun our response," Fletcher said as he outlined the latest efforts to contain the virus. On Wednesday, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that at its current pace, the outbreak is on track to eclipse the Western Africa Ebola outbreak of 2014 to 2016, a crisis that killed more than 11,000 people and accelerated the push to develop a vaccine. The current outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo species of Ebola virus, which has no approved vaccines or treatments. The outbreak has gained momentum since it was declared on May 15th, as weak health infrastructure, the region's remoteness, and ongoing conflict near the DRC's borders with South Sudan, Uganda, and Rwanda have hindered response efforts. In Nigeria, on a weak morning in Pantami District, Gombe, the streets filled with the familiar rush of motorcycles carrying students, workers, and traders across the city. But increasingly, some pass almost silently, a subtle sign of a transport shift driven not by climate policy but by Nigeria's soaring fuel prices. One pedestrian did not realize a motorcycle was behind him until the rider sounded its horn. Unlike the petrol-powered bikes that dominate Nigerian roads, the electric motorcycles moved almost noiselessly and produced no exhaust fumes. Nigeria sees no sign that anti-immigrant violence is waning in South Africa. Electric motorcycles are gradually appearing across Gombe as riders seek relief from rising fuel costs following President Bola Tinubu's removal of Nigeria's fuel subsidy in May 2023, forcing many to rethink how they travel and earn a living. The bikes, which typically cost about 1 million naira, which is about $735 remain out of reach for many households. But those who have made the switch say the savings on fuel and maintenance are significant. Tinubu announced the end of Nigeria's long-standing petrol subsidy during his inauguration on May 29, 2023, triggering a sharp increase in fuel prices across the country. In Gombe, petrol now sells for about 1,365 naira, which is $1 per litre, compared with roughly 200 naira 15 cents before the subsidy was removed. The increase has driven up transport costs and squeezed household budgets across Nigeria. The economic pressure has coincided with growing concern about the environmental impact of the country's aging fleet of petrol-powered motorcycles and vehicles. According to the World Bank, road transport is a major contributor to air pollution in Nigerian cities, with vehicle emissions adding significantly to levels of harmful particulate matter. That's all we have time for on this edition of News Around Africa, and I'm Esther Wilson.